This was because playtesters thought punching people into psychoactive peyote-induced rage while wearing a Native American headdress would be considered racist. A non-playable class called the Civilian can be found in the game's files. Its model is the same as the Scouts, and its role would have likely been similar to the Civilian in Team Fortress Classic, a target or an escortee. There are a number of different death screams in the game's files that were to be used for the Civilian. These screams were originally also used for the other playable classes before they were given unique class-specific voices. Two unused models of rideable carts can be found in the game's files that were intended for the payload mode. There are also two unused audio tracks tucked away in the game's files. The first was intended to be included with the man versus machine updates. The track is an elevator-style jingle which would have played as the player browses the upgrade station. The second is a MIDI version of the intruder alert track. There are tons of random secrets and Easter eggs found in the game which have been added with various updates. One of the Pyro's taunt kills is called the Hadouken, and is named after the signature move used by Ryu in the Street Fighter series. The proof of purchase helmet given to players prior to the update in 2011 was based on the helmet of the human commando from the previous Invasion incarnation of the game. There are a couple of community-created items submitted through the Steam Workshop which have since been officially incorporated into the game. The knife used by the spy, called Your Eternal Reward, is a reference to a scene in the 1992 Disney film Aladdin. In the scene, Jafar, disguised as an old man, tries to stab Aladdin with a similar-looking knife that says, Your Eternal Reward. The item, Familiar Fez for the spy, is a reference to the character Mustafa from the first two Austin Powers movies. In the second movie, The Spy Who Shagged Me, when Austin encounters Mustafa, he says to him, I don't recall your name, but your fez is familiar. The bow tie item, Dr. Woe, which can be used by the Spire medic, is reference to the show Doctor Who, in particular to the 11th incarnation of the Doctor, who was commonly associated with wearing a bow tie. When placing the red tape recorder onto a building, an inaudible sound can be heard. When the sound is slowed down between 70 to 80%, it says, When a scout is blown up, there's a 1 in 100 chance that a dove will fly out of the splattered remains. This is a reference to the Meet the Medic video where the medic accidentally seals his pet bird Archimedes inside the scout's chest. That's all for today, but now we're going to try something a little bit different. We'd like you to vote for what you want the next episode of Did You Know Gaming to be. If you'd like an episode on the Game Boy, click the annotation on the right. Or if you'd like an episode on the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim, click the annotation on the left. If you have any other suggestions, let us know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more. My name is Markiplier, narrating this on behalf of Did You Know Gaming. You can find links to my channel where I play many games of questionable quality in the description below or the annotation. Thanks again for watching.
When you get home, we watch the movie.
In high school, I was diagnosed with PCOS. I started this rapid weight gain. Because of that, I lost my confidence to sing in front of people. That was the hardest thing because music is my life. My name is Maddie Zalman. I'm from Boise, Idaho. I'm a music therapist for kids with autism. It's just changed my life. I have the confidence now to do what I love. Wish me luck. I'm ready to sing.
This is American Idol. The journey continues tonight on ABC.
Then she died He has people.
Did you know? The Heavy's father was a counter-revolutionary in the USSR. Upon his death, the Heavy and his family were deported to a North Siberian gulag. Roughly 27 years before the events of Team Fortress 2, the prison is burned to the ground 3 months into the Heavy's stay. Considering he looks to be somewhere in his 40s by now, this implies that an adolescent Heavy took out the entire camp security via torture and freed everyone inside. One of the Heavy's possible secondary weapons is the Dalokos bar. Dalokos spelled backwards is Chocolab, which is Russian for chocolate. The Heavy's gun, Sasha, is the only thing the Heavy appears to care about other than family. In fact, he loves it so much he sleeps beside it. Unlike most of the class-specific TF2 updates, the Soldiers update came alongside the Demo Mans in an update entitled War. The update started with a contest awarding whoever killed more of the opposing class a special new weapon. The War comic accompanying the update explained the Demo Man and Soldier's friendship prior to the event, and sometimes when dominating one another, both classes will voice lines referencing their former friendship. Dominated, but you still be pissed. Dominated, I'm still your friend. A weapon available to both the Soldier and Demo Man is the half Zatoichi, which has multiple references in its name. Zatoichi is a blind swordsman created for a series of films occurring in late Edo, Japan, relating to the soldier's vision being permanently obscured by his hat. Also, the Demo Man only has one eye, hence the half in the name. While likely unintentional, the late Edo period is around the 1830s to 1840s, and Team Fortress 2's story begins in 1850. The weapon also has an attribute called honor bound, which prevents it from being sheathed until killed. This is likely a reference to the infamous Muramasa, a Japanese swordsmith whose swords could not be sheathed until they drew blood. The Demo Man, aka Tavish Finnegan DeGroot, is bizarrely obsessed with jobs. According to his mother, his father held down 26 jobs at once. She holds this against him as he only has a measly 3 jobs. In the Abominomicon comic, the Demo Man searches the graveyard for ghosts, hoping they'll give him jobs. He ends up finding one given by a wizard who warns him not to read the Abominomicon. Being a child, he reads it anyway. And as far as we know, this is actually the story of how he lost his eye. The Demo Man's weapons feature several blatant references to him being Scottish. One of his melee weapons, Nessie's 9-iron, is a golf club named after the Scottish Loch Ness Monster. Scotland also happens to be where modern golf was invented. One of his alternate grenade launchers is called the Lock and Load, and one of his sticky launchers is called the Scottish Resistance. This refers to the Scottish revolt against English rule in the late 1200s. The Eyelander, Demo Man's default sword, is a reference to the movie Highlander. And lastly, the Scottish handshake is a slang term that references a stereotype of the Scottish people. It implies that they're aggressive even under agreeable circumstances. The Scout has as much Boston in him as the Demo Man has Scottish. One piece of concept art suggests he could have featured a more blatant visual interest in baseball, complete with a baseball t-shirt and matching red cleats. One of his cosmetic items are red socks, which is a reference to the baseball team of the same name. Once the Scout's update was released, he received a new weapon unlock called the Sandman. The Sandman is a bat and ball combo, which, if aimed correctly, can be used to temporarily stun opposing players. The name and its stifling abilities references the Sandman, a mythical character who puts people to sleep by sprinkling sand in their eyes. The Scout's scattergun had unused sound effects for a double-barreled shot. The sound was ultimately repurposed for the Force of Nature weapon instead. One likely joke on the Force of Nature promotional poster is that it was made in Portugal but has good warranty written on it in Spanish, making it look fraudulent. The Engineer is one of the few characters in Team Fortress 2 with a full name, Del Conager. Conager happens to be a reference to the old Western novel Conager by Lewis Moore. This explains the Engineer's relaxed cowboy-like demeanor in his Meet the Engineer trailer. The Loose Cannon comic explains that the Engineer's grandfather was integral to TF2's backstory and seemingly senseless conflict. Decades prior, he created a machine that would keep feuding brothers Blutarch and Redman Man alive forever, more or less. In the present, Blutarch Man commissioned the Engineer to figure out his grandfather's blueprints and make a better machine. The melee weapon, Eureka Effect, is named after a sudden realization or solution to a problem. This is likely because the weapon allows the Engineer to teleport to certain locations almost instantly without the need of a teleporter. This effect is similar to that of the Instant Teleporter, a secondary weapon for the Engineer, which allowed them to instantly teleport to their teleporter exit. It was scrapped during development, however, as Engineers were using the teleporter exit for their own needs, breaking the flow of gameplay. The Sniper isn't actually Australian. As a baby, he was blasted out of a rocket intended for deep space, only to land